I think most people agree that Justin Herbert had one of the best rookie seasons we've seen in quite some time, but I'm not sure if we would all agree about that if Joe Burrow stayed healthy through all these games, because it was neck and neck before he got hurt. He is legitimately awesome, and it was super fun to watch his rookie season when he was healthy, and I think that he's clearly got a bright future. So let's talk about what he does well. We'll get into a little bit of negatives, but honestly, it's going to be mostly positive because that's the situation with Burrow. So let's start things off with something like this. This is a great example. What's going to happen on this play is that it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and you see the way this play is designed to work. Burrow's going to be looking to his left on this play. That's the way that they want to have this work. It's even going to be a play action rollout in that direction. But watch what happens. So Burrow takes a snap, runs the play action. And at this point, first, you see that there's a lot of pressure on Burrow right here. So he basically has to make a decision now. On top of this, nothing is really open for Cincinnati. Maybe the deeper route you could argue, but again, there is a Philadelphia player who's a little bit underneath. That's a more difficult throw than it looks like from this angle, so I can understand why Burrow wouldn't want to throw there. And so at this point, most players, you're out of the pocket, so you can't throw the ball away. That's what most players would do. Maybe some would take the sack. But what I love about Burrow and what I love about, all of my favorite quarterbacks is when they can do something that other players can, when they can just sort of find a way to make a play work that should have never worked. Watch him sidestep, and he's still going to find a way to eventually hit a Cincinnati tight end who was just never even supposed to be in that play to begin with, really. I mean, that was not what he was supposed to do. He just got open, Burrow found him. That's just an incredible play, and most quarterbacks don't make that play, which is one of the many things to like about Burrow. He has a little bit of that, like Patrick Mahomes in him, where, even if things break down, he can find a way to make something happen. And then there's just stuff like this, yes, those plays are awesome, but you could argue they don't happen as much, and my argument to that would be, well, it still happens every now and then, and it's a huge advantage, but still, let's talk about just design plays that work, because his accuracy is a thing of beauty. On this play, it's a cover 3 zone. You see the route where he's going to want to throw to. You wait until it's in a gap in coverage and then make the throw. But watch this throw. As you see, this is going to be pretty well played by Philadelphia, but that's just a complete bullet. That's perfect. And again, the old saying goes that a great throw can beat great coverage. Well, that was a great throw right there. So some of these, positives are just incredible. And then there's something like this. One of the things I talk about a lot doing my draft coverage is that pocket presence is something that's highly not talked about enough. That's something that needs to be talked about a lot more, because someone who has good pocket presence can really thrive in the NFL. That is something that carries over. It's one of the many reasons I was such a fan of Joe Burrow coming out of college, as was everybody. I mean, he went first overall. Most people agreed he should have gone first overall. But on this play, for example, it's not actually a blitz, but the corner is going to rush in and rush the passer. It's still a 4-man rush because the defensive tackle drops back into coverage. So it's still going to be zone coverage, but just kind of a unique way to do it. But watch out right when this play starts, Burrow, without even looking his way, just knows to sidestep him immediately, which is one of those weird things. And then he's going to make an incredible throw. And again, that's another one of those plays where how many quarterbacks in the league make that play? It's not many. It's very few that find a way to make that happen. And that goes from, either losing 7 yards to now gaining 15. That's a huge swing in a football game. I mean, that's putting points on the board, essentially, because it's that big of a swing just on one play, and other quarterbacks wouldn't do that. Now let's go over to this one, because in fact, I would almost argue that sometimes he's so good at that, it becomes a negative. And this is what I mean. So same thing, Marcus Peters, he's going to rush in. Watch what happens. On this one, Burrow might have been in more trouble if the tight end wasn't there. It was a play action, and he was flashing over sort of to help sell the play action, and he happened to be in the area where he could, knock Peters out of the way. Really good read by him. But now for Burrow, he really has to make a throw very quickly, and he's reading the one that's closer to the top of the screen, which, that one's not open. The one on the bottom of the screen is open, so that's unfortunate. Again, worth mentioning, there is still a Baltimore player in front of the player who's closest to the bottom of the screen for Cincinnati, so it's not as easy of a throw as it looks, but still, that's a throw that Burrow could make given the gap of how far away they are. However, Burrow is looking to his left, which again, he happened to be looking that way instead of the other way. It happens. But my main issue is that at this point, he should know to look at a second read or then throw the ball away. He shouldn't still be stuck on this read. Instead, he's waiting for it to get open, and then he tries to scramble out, and he should have known that he didn't have that kind of time. I mean, he saw Marcus Peters go by him, and he saw that it wasn't like a complete devastating block to get him away. You got to know, okay, I have to make a decision right now. There could have been a little bit more urgency. He is very patient, and I would say that his patience does a lot more positive than negatives, but it does, it has the occasional negative as well. Like this one's probably even a better example of that exact thing happening. This one, the whole internet went crazy over this one, I feel like, where this was a kind of an obvious one of an obvious blunder by Burrow of just he's so good at getting around pressure sometimes that comes back to bite him. As you see, he's going to fake the handoff, and there is eventually going to be pressure. He tries to shake it off, and it does not work whatsoever. So again, people could look at that and say, well, that's a negative, and it kind of is, but at the same time, he does it so many times in a positive way, you could just as easily say, well, I think it's a positive that he does that. And to me, I would say, no, I don't think he should try to put that out of his game. I just think maybe be a little bit more careful with that kind of stuff, because it does add a ton of value. Just, again, every now and then you do have to be a little bit more careful, but I think he'll figure that kind of thing out. One last thing I want to talk about will be shown on a play like this. So, there's the whole Penei Sewell versus Jamar Chase argument, and the more I watched film of Burrow, because, I had watched a good amount during the season, but I hadn't fully studied, the All-22. I watched a condensed version of every game during the season, but sometimes, the All-22 gives you a much better idea of what's going on. It always does, quite frankly, and so it just takes more time to study the tape. However, the main takeaway I got from studying the tape was, oh, I see why they drafted Jamar Chase. Absolutely. Because on this play, it's going to be sort of a buzz concept, so it's man coverage. The route you see on the screen could get open. And watch, as you see, it's going to be kind of open right here, but it's going to be tough, right? This is going to be a very difficult throw for Burrow to make. He really has to put it in a good spot all the way over, and it's going to probably have to be a tough catch. And this is what I'm talking about. Burrow loves to make his receivers make a tough contested catch, and that's what Jamar Chase excels at, is the contested catches. So if Chase was in a different offense, maybe that wouldn't work as well and be as effective, but with Joe Burrow, who likes to make these types of throws, and Cincinnati likes to run these types of routes, well, having a guy who's great at contested catches should help them a ton. Because as you see, this is a great throw for where Burrow wanted to have it be made, but it just wasn't complete. And there's a ton of plays like that where it just, wasn't able to get the tough catch. And that's what Jamar Chase excels at. So, again, that's kind of a Joe Burrow thing. I would say it is, because it shows how well Chase and Burrow will fit in. And, of course, we know how well it worked when they were both playing for LSU. But I think it would really work in the NFL, and it makes a ton of sense. The fit is just perfect because Joe Burrow is so accurate at those types of plays. So, yeah, Joe Burrow's awesome. He literally is. He's an incredible prospect, and he had a great rookie season. And I almost feel like he is a bit underrated right now. Not a lot of people are talking about him, but I think that he's going to be great next year. I really do. I think that he's great now, really. He's already a really good quarterback, and which is saying something given that he's going into his second year. And I do think there is some room for improvement. I am a huge Joe Burrow fan. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays next year. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.